Hi guys, welcome to the very first edition of our virtual makers meet. I hope you all are excited and we're glad we're starting on time. So today's session is going to be, as you guys would have seen in the agenda, it's going to be super fun, informative. We're going to take you through four different sessions, which will be led by our different speakers. We're taking you through all the different things that we do at LBB and tell you about all the various ways that you can collaborate with us, advertise with us, sell through us. And without much further ado, I'm going to let Suchita take over, who is also the founder of LBB, and she's going to take you through what brand LBB is. And over to you, Suchita.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Shalvi, guys. It's absolutely lovely to have all of you. I wish we could do this in person like we did last year when a bunch of you actually made the effort. You flew down to Delhi as a part of our very first Makers Meet. So thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts for you guys for taking out the time, for being here. Just a quick, heads up. If there are things that you like from our presentation, if there are points that you like, please do spread the love, share the word on social media, tag us at from LBB on Twitter and at LBB for Business, and use the hashtag LBB Makers Meet because we've got a lot of fun things coming up for you. As Shalvi mentioned, we have 4 sessions today. I'll be taking you through just a couple of points of introduction. I know a lot of you are very nervous about COVID and the impact of COVID on your business. Don't worry, as business owners ourselves, we feel the pain and we're here to help you through it. My co-founder Dhruv will join us next, after which you'll hear from 2 of my fantastic colleagues, Akanksha Singh Devi and Abhijit, who will talk to you about content marketing through LBB. And finally, a bunch of you already know Akshita and Sneha. You'll get a chance to hear from them as well. So without further ado, like I said, please feel free to use hashtag LBB Makers Market and tag us on Twitter and on Instagram. Today, my agenda with you guys is, there's some of you who are familiar with our platform. There are some of you who are unfamiliar with our platform. My goal today is to introduce you to what we're doing at LBB, essentially talk to you about, what are the key takeaways that you should have from this session. COVID and its aftermath, like I said, totally empathize with the impact that COVID must have had on a lot of your businesses, how we can help you and how you should help yourself, right? So that's what I am going to cover today. Apologies in advance if there are any technical lags, and apologies in advance in case you hear 2 dogs barking. Those are my pups somewhere out there. So let's jump right in, right? I don't know how many of you are familiar with LBB. I don't know how many of you have our app or web. If you don't, please head over to the App Store and give us a download and give our product a spin. Essentially, we are India's favorite recommendations platform to discover and shop great lifestyle brands. At LBB, we know what millennials want to spend their time and their money on. And how do we know this? We know this because we have over 1 lakh brands and businesses that are recommended on LBB. We have over 25 million users that use our app and our web annually. We have an additional follower base of about 2 million users across Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and the likes. We have over 2 million app downloads on our iOS and Android devices. We have over a 4.6-star rating with a lot of customer love coming our way. And we have a creator community of over 10,000 people. So we have about 10,000 people who are, users, tastemakers, etc., who essentially share their recommendations of great local brands and businesses that they find on LBB. So who are our users? To really understand LBB, what's important is that you understand who our users are. Our users are typically in between 25 to about 35 years of age. Obviously, the range is in between 18 to 40, which are most internet users in India. The way we define our users is they're young, they're urban thinking, and they're trend adopting. So we actually have users from over 200 cities in India, and we have shoppers as well from over 150 cities in India. And what unites all of them, apart from them being outgoing, apart from them, obviously being excited by local brands and businesses, is that they are urban in their approach, though even if they may not live in urban cities, and they're trend adopting with disposable income and a high intent. 71% of our users, like I said, are in the age group of about 25 to 34 years of age. So this isn't a deal hunter, this isn't a bargain hunter, but this is a value conscious customer, right? They will not spend ludicrous amounts of money on anything and everything that they see, but if you're able to articulate what the value of your product is, they will buy in. 49% of our mobile users, so 49% of our mobile web users are actually on iOS. So this is someone who looks at themselves as aspirational, right? This is someone who aspires to have a better life. And that's a lot of what LBB promises them: access to objects, things, commodities, products from amazing local brands and businesses that help them, live just a little better. Apart from our consumer community and obviously apart from the huge community of app, web, and social media users that LBB has, we also know how tough it is to build a brand. And we know how tough it is because, as Sharvi mentioned, both Dhruv and I have started this business from scratch. I actually have no business being an entrepreneur. I'm an economics graduate. Fortunately, I graduated, before the cutoffs became 98%. I've worked at the BBC and at Bizcraft in the past. Dhruv, on the other hand, who leads product tech and operations for us, he's graduated from Carnegie Mellon University in the US. He worked with Deloitte and moved back to India to start his own payments platform. Together, we've actually raised over 60 crores. So we have stalwart investors. Our angel investors included folks like Rajan Anandan, who is the former head of Google Asia and is now a partner at Sequoia. And of course, we have stalwart venture capitalists, whether it's Chirity Ventures, Bloom Ventures, Inventus Capital, India Angel Network Fund. We've really been able to go out to market and not just build a lot of consumer love, but we've been able to transcend that consumer love into a business model that has obviously proved to be a lucrative proposition for venture capitalists. So we know what it takes to go all the way from idea to inception to product to testing product to finding product market fit and scaling products up and also raising money from investors. So everything that we're saying to you today is actually coming more from the point of view of founders and business owners and people who feel the pain of building a business. And we hope some of that reflects in the points that we bring up today. So let me start first and foremost with the elephant in the room, right? Coronavirus, of course, is a pandemic, quite like any other that we've seen before. The way it's taken over the world, the way it's absolutely paralyzed businesses has been exhausting, right? And as a business, even LBB has been affected. No industry as such has been able to, make itself coronavirus proof in a sense of words. So we know that it's been really, really tough, right? And it hasn't only been tough for you guys, it hasn't only been tough for us. Like I said, it's been tough world over. Brands as large as Starbucks have had to shut their stores. Brands that have raised, thousands and thousands of crores, whether it's a Shoppers Stop of the world or large FMCG companies, they've seen tremendous layoffs, tremendous furloughs, and tremendous store cuts and staff cuts as well, right? Obviously, another cohort that's been affected extremely badly has been the customer base, because the customer base has been at the receiving end and has been the recipient of the economic distraught that has been caused by this very pandemic. What I'm going to do over the next couple of minutes is talk to you a little bit about what is our point of view on consumers, large businesses and small businesses, and hopefully this gives you a bit of an insight into what you guys can expect over the next couple of months. So let me start by saying that the next 8 to 10 months are going to be highly unpredictable, right? And your biggest moat, your biggest strength, and your biggest differentiator over the next 8 months will be your ability as business owners and as CMOs and CXOs of your startups. How are you able to adapt to all the unpredictability and the uncertainty that comes your way, right? From a consumer and demand perspective, obviously we're one company and we're using our own data points, but we have a network of thousands and hundreds and lakhs of companies who we engage with. What we can tell you is consumers are obviously growing their demand as far as specialty foods and groceries are concerned. So we're seeing an uptake in everything from Ayurvedic and immunity boosting brands to your more day-to-day FMCGs products. We're seeing a boost in demand on that front. Digital services and activities have obviously grown considerably. So all of us are having this chat on Zoom, right? Which for those of you who follow tech news have seen their valuation 10x over the past 6 to 8 months. Skincare and grooming has also grown considerably. So while people are at home, they may not have a reason to dress up, but what they have become conscious about is simple things like their skincare, like their grooming. People are afraid to go to their nearest salon or their nearest parlor, and a lot of latent demand for those categories is seeing an interesting uptick. Makeup and beauty, so your slightly more vanity-led categories, those are obviously being affected because if you're not going out, you're not meeting friends, you're not going for work, you don't need to dress up as much as you did earlier, right? Home and accessories, again, a lot of functional home and accessories products are seeing an uptake in demand. So simple things like affordable study desks, chairs that you can use at home while you're vociferously typing away on your laptop or taking calls at home. Those are seeing obviously a growth in demand. Again, very interestingly, things like couches, chairs, categories like those are seeing a pickup in demand. But your more desire based accessories, those have been hit severely. Fashion and apparel is obviously one category that's been hit the worst. Retailers have said that they're at anything in between 10 to 25% of their pre-COVID demand. So there's been a huge drop in latent demand for fashion and apparel as categories. Restaurant and eating out has been, is obviously being affected from a consumer's perspective, because remember, this consumer themselves are anxious, right? This consumer themselves have probably seen salary cuts. They've probably, seen cuts from a team size perspective in their office. Everyone is just rethinking how they're ensuring that they keep their demand intact as far as their money, etc., is concerned. Travel, of course, as goes without saying, has been affected. Though that said, we're seeing a few very interesting spikes as far as road trips are concerned from a consumer's perspective. So even on our app and our web, we do see people, checking out places that they can go, which are near to where they stay, and work for a couple of days from there. From a large brands and a corporate's perspective, these are the trends that we essentially see happen. So for, again, very similar to following consumer demands, FMCG is on a tear, OTT and EdTech, so any technology based platforms that are in the space of entertainment or education are on a tear. Healthcare and insurance, again, we see an uptick in demand for telemedicine, at-home consultations. That's on a tear. Financial services are on a tear. Alcohol, especially for large corporates, and actually right after lockdown getting lifted, right, a lot of them saw a surge in volume of consumption and demand. Consumer electronics has seen a tepid response. Consumer electronics are categories that are working again, are categories that help make life at home efficient. Again, like I said, keep thinking about who the customer is, right? This customer is probably at home. They don't have staff. Their day probably starts very early. They have to clean their homes, they have to dust their homes, they have to cook food, and then they have to carry on with the rest of their working day, right? So any equipment that makes your life easier at home, whether it's your dishwashers, your kettles, things, your microwaves, your ovens, things like those have seen a pickup. But again, any discretionary-esque spends around consumer electronics, those haven't seen tailwinds as such at all. Malls and retail chains and hotels and airlines, again, those are the two corporate-esque categories that have been pretty terribly affected. Our point of view, finally, as far as small businesses are concerned, right? So, like I said, similar trends on a consumer front. Grocery brands and services are on a tear. Independent skin and healthcare and hair care brands, sorry, are on a tear as well. So again, words, and my colleague Akshita will talk about this, but words like natural, Ayurvedic, organic, there is a consumer affiliation with categories like this, at least, from the data that we're seeing on LBB. Home and kitchen, activities, classes, DIY, casual fashion, and basics from a small brands and businesses perspective, those have seen a tepid response, maybe demand back up to 50 to 60% of what it was before, what it was pre-COVID. Accessories and jewelry, wedding, festive wear, restaurants from a small business perspective have of course been very severely affected. That said, what we also know is tough times don't last, tough people do, right? And I know, this is a message of optimism for a lot of you. But it's been absolutely amazing to see so many brands reinvent themselves. So many restaurants have launched consumer products. They've launched dips, sauces, packaged goods, and really figured out a way to adapt to this, unprecedented times and unprecedented circumstances, right? So like I said earlier, just work with the assumption your thumb rule for the next 8 months needs to be things are going to be uncertain. You may see a sudden rise in demand, which may fall, 2 days later. That's just the nature of the times that we live in. And the better you are at adapting, the better it is for you. So at LBB, what are we betting on? And this may sound a little counterintuitive, but we're actually betting on a new generation of brands. In our opinion, if you actually take the long-term view now, so if you can afford to, if you are capitalized enough, if you take the long-term view, now is an absolutely fantastic time to build a consumer brand across pretty much every category that's out there. And why so, right? Four very simple reasons. Number one, customer acquisition costs are cheaper than ever before. For those of you who are used to advertising on Google or Facebook or any other platform, I'm sure what you've seen is your customer acquisition costs are pretty much 30% of what they used to be from a pre-COVID level, right? In fact, even at LBB, we've seen ROASes of anything in between 10 to 20. So our return on ad spend has been anything in between 10 to 20, because again, your CACs are cheaper than ever before. The second reason why it's a great time to shift, it's a great time to want to build a consumer brand, is because there is a latent demand towards more Indian and local brands, right? Some of this has been galvanized by our Prime Minister's call to action to be vocal for local. But more than anything else, what we see is consumers, and especially your slightly more upwardly mobile customers, they are becoming much more conscientious about the source of their products and the source of the ingredients that they're either putting into their food or are putting on their face, and therefore, if you can get your packaging right, if you can get your price right, and if you can do a better a job of calling out to what your product stands for, now is a great time to launch a consumer brand or to hasten the message around your consumer brand. The third thing is there are very interesting nuances that have come up. So again, like I said, natural, herbal, Indian, all of these words at home, right? All of these words are becoming a great way to pull consumers towards you versus, what was happening earlier, which was predominantly more push-based advertising. So there's a lot of pull-based brand marketing opportunities that can be created. And most importantly, now is a great time to build a brand because if you don't make short-term attempts at reviving cash flows, as I've seen, a lot of you guys, a lot of the merchants who we work with, you guys have launched masks and you've launched sanitizers, and all of those are great short-term measures. But my request to all of you guys, my call to action to all of you guys would be that really think through consumer sentiments, not consumer spends. And there's a difference in between the two, right? Consumer spends right now may make you want to think that, FMCG, OTT, EdTech, etc. But really, what is the customer sentiment from that customer spend? The customer sentiment is the customer wants to feel safe. The customer wants guarantee. The customer wants assurity. The customer wants to know more, right? The customers become much more inquisitive. So really think of your brand as a brand that caters more to what are the customer sentiments that are going to be accelerated because of COVID. Don't think of it as where are customers spending, because like I said, customers may be spending very aggressively in one category, but the second context change, you'll see spend sort of move back into categories that they were spending on earlier. And if you are one of those, right, if you're one of the folks on this call who really wants to go big or go home, what I'd urge you to do is really think through how have the greatest brands in India been built. So if you think of brands like Himalaya, like And, like Haldiram's, Chumbak, Mama Earth, Bira, in fact, Mama Earth, I'll be talking to the co-founders tomorrow as a part of LBB's Open House, which is a webinar and podcast that we've launched recently. They've been able to build their brands through three very simple steps, right? Step number one is define what your target addressable market is. It's so interesting and it's so fascinating. And this is a lesser known fact, but I spend most of my weekends talking to founders of consumer products and other entrepreneurs, to learn from them and also help them learn from things that we may have gone through at LBB. The biggest thing that I find lacking, and actually a mistake that we made as founders and co-founders of LBB, is we were not able to articulate what our target addressable market is. And just defining your target addressable market is extremely important, because the last thing that you want, especially in times like today, is to spread yourself too thin, right? And this chart right here, this picture right here, demonstrates how to think of, what is your total available market, what is your served available market, and what is your target market. So to give you an example, for LBB, our total available market would perhaps be Indians who have transacted once on the internet and have made discretionary spends, right? So if I had to remove the pool of Indians who are perhaps using the internet to recharge their mobile phones and to pay their bills, and if I had to look at, say, for example, customers who've spent on Amazon or spent on Book My Show or spent on Zomato, Swiggy, and the likes, my total available market becomes a pool, say, of 70 to 80 million Indians in between 22 to about 45 years of age, pan India, right? So that's my total available market. Now, what's my served available market, right? My served available market will essentially be a function of what all pin codes and areas does LBB have content and information in, what are the pin codes in areas where LBB can make deliveries, and off of that 70 to 80 million total available market, my served available market probably becomes 45 to 50 million unique users in India, right? However, my target market, so the market that is my lowest hanging fruit, right? The market that chances are is most easily able to adapt to LBB, that'll probably be the 25 to 30 million range. So you guys get the gist, right? Your total available market will be this gigantic pool, your served available market will be smaller, and your target market will be the smallest. And essentially everything from your marketing strategy to your channels of distribution, all of them need to become a function of what is my target market, my served available market, and my total available market, right? So really think through who your target addressable market is. And especially right now, or at least I can give you our example, what we're doing at LBB is we're doubling down on this, right? We're doubling down on our target market. We're not thinking too much about our total available market, which we may have been doing about a year ago. So really define who your target addressable market is. Step number two is think about your 80-20 rule. So how many of you have heard of Himalaya? I can't really see a show of hands, but let's work with the assumption you've all heard of Himalaya, right? As per 2016 to 2017 FY data, Himalaya clocked a turnover of over 2,500 crores, right? Incredible trajectory for this brand. And as per the reading and the research that we did online, 50% of their revenue from FY 2016 to 2017 was from these two products, right? So two products drove 50% of their revenue. These two products were their purifying neem face wash and their lip balm. And the truth is, every single company has a whale, right? Every single company, and when I say a whale, is you'll have like the front of the whale, which will drive a considerable part of your business, and then you'll have the long tail of your whale, which will drive smaller and smaller and incremental parts of your business, right? So if you're an entrepreneur, if you're one of the brand owners on this call, what I would urge you to do is really think through what is your 80-20 rule, right? What is that cohort of products that's driving a volume of your business, and figure out your supply chain, your raw materials, etc. around those products, because you will not be able to do too much product development, especially with capital and with demand constraints over the next couple of months. So really think through what is your 80-20 rule. And finally, and most importantly, find what product market fit for you looks like, right? This is a term and a phrase that's used very commonly amongst tech startups, but I would actually encourage every single brand on this call to think through what product market fit is like for their product. This graph is from a book called The Messy Middle by Scott Belsky, which I would encourage you all to read. And essentially the credit of this goes to Paul Graham, who is one of the co-founders of Y Combinator, which is one of the biggest incubators based out of Silicon Valley. This kind of describes what the sort of journey to finding product market fit, right? And while I'm sure a lot of you guys can Google and research what product market fit includes, really in a summary, product market fit is this particular picture right here. A product market fit essentially has four parts to it. You have a market, you have a product, you have a channel, and you have a model. A market, as I spoke to you about in 2 slides ago, really define what your target addressable market and your target market and your serviceable market is. Once you figure out what your market is, figure out what the product that you want to take to this market is. And in between your product and your market, you find product market fit. But more than just finding product market fit, really think through what is your model and what are your channels of customer acquisition and what are your channels of distribution, right? So to give you guys an example, from a model perspective, every brand needn't only have a consumer facing strategy, they could also have a B2B strategy. And we see this with a lot of your FMCG brands that haven't only built a very strong consumer reputation and repertoire, but they've also built a very strong business to business retail engine, right? So your model needn't necessarily always be consumer facing. You can diversify how you're able to monetize your product and monetize your market. Similarly with channels, right? A big mistake that I see a lot of companies make, and specifically within consumer products and consumer brands as categories, is they go crazy with their channels, right? So they'll do everything from Facebook marketing to Google marketing. They'll be on Amazon, they'll be on LBB, they'll be on 20 marketplaces, they'll be in general trade, they'll be in modern trade. And really the problem that ends up happening is you start running out of inventory on one particular channel. You may have demand coming in through that channel, but you're not being able to service that demand because you don't have inventory, because you haven't thought of your supply chain and your channel mix properly as well, right? So really, once you figure out your product, once you figure out your market, please don't ignore your channels. Please don't ignore your models. Please be very, very judicious about the channels that you pick and choose to distribute your business. And like I said, look at these four boxes in terms of how you'll have a long-term view on what your product has to offer. Apart from all of the information that I've given today, really is about how can LBB, how can we as a platform, if you have the ambition to build a great consumer brand and product, how do we help you build your brand better with LBB, right? And that really is what today is about. This cuts my part, but before we bring my co-founder in, I'm going to ask my colleague Shalvi to jump in because I think she has a couple of questions for me.
That was awesome, Suchita. Thank you so much for this wonderful session. And I'm now going to introduce our next speaker. But before that, a very humble reminder to each of you that if you guys are posting this on Twitter, posting this on Instagram, the hashtag is #LBBMakersMeet. And if you're tagging us, we're available on @from_LBB on Twitter and @LBB for Business on Instagram. So do tag us. Now, coming up next, we have Dhruv Mathur, who's the co-founder of LBB, and he's going to take you through all the awesome things that we do on the product and tech front. So Dhruv, if you could switch on your camera, and over to you.
Great. Thank you so much, Shalvi. And lovely to see such bright faces in the morning, the ones we can see, and so many folks on the call today. Thank you so much for joining. I'm Dhruv Mathur. I look after product tech growth at LBB. I also man the fort when it comes to getting issues sorted out for merchants and customers. And you are very welcome to send all complaints and inquiries my way when if you have any issues. I'm always happy to address them and get feedback. Obviously, as Shalvi said, please don't forget to use the hashtag, tag us on Twitter and on Instagram already. And today now I'll be actually getting into how we look to power your brand with technology. We have a lot of new offerings coming up. and new and upcoming features that we'd love to announce, distribution and how we are building tech to help you distribute via LBB, both on the platform and off the platform, how you can take content to transactions on LBB itself, and then logistics and the logistics options that we have on LBB. At the end, we'll talk a little bit about what's best for your type of business, so that you are able to choose between the things you would like to work on, both as a business and a brand as you want to grow, as well as with our platform, or in any way that we can support you going forward. So the things that we'll be talking about and new and upcoming features that we have are majorly around the key features it takes to actually build a business into a brand, right? And if you think about the world we live in today, what are those things that are very imperative for a consumer to recognize you as a brand, for a consumer to be able to replace the word water with Bisleri or cola with Coca-Cola? The first and foremost is distribution. You have to be places where consumers are. You have to go to them. You have to be available to them, and you have to make sure that they can come to you. The second is obviously content and community. You have to make sure that in today's world, as discovery has shifted largely through media that is very image heavy and video heavy, that you can create, distribute, as well as get sales and transactions from it, make the right partnerships, and create the right type of brand entity through the content you put out there into the universe. And of course, particularly in 2020, logistics is going to be a very, very important part of how you deliver the value of your brand to a consumer. Things are changing every day in terms of what is happening with logistics, what's available, what cannot be shipped. And it's very important to always have your eye on the ball with that, because at the end of the day, if you do everything right, but you can't get your product to your consumer, that's really where you get stuck. And those are three of the aspects of building a brand that we've been working on from a technology standpoint. This is also the theme we'll be working on for the rest of the year. So expect to see a lot more coming up in the future as well. So starting off with distribution. So we're very excited to announce how we look at distribution. We believe that users are everywhere and you need to go to them, not just on LBB, but actually on all of the platforms out there. So if you're selling on LBB, we are launching features starting with 5 pilot merchants where we will allow you to distribute your catalog that's on LBB out to PhonePe, GPay, Paytm, that will be coming a bit later, and also be building out a microsite with your own domain. So in case you're facing an overhead of managing a tech team, or you're having to outsource it and you just like to make it light, simple, and fast, we can power that for you. Our strategy and approach is to, instead of trying to make LBB as big as players out there in a big hurry, we of course aspire to be as big as them. We would like to partner with them so that not only can we grow, but they can help you grow as well. Here's a quick demo of one of our new pilot merchants on GPay. This is Well-Versed. They have some excellent keto snacks and keto-friendly products, as well as lovely peanut butter that I love. If you saw, I opened up GPay. I found what they call the GPay spot on GPay, and I open it up and look at their catalog. It's super fast. It's super smooth. It's supposed to be a very light experience, as GPay is about customers who find your item and they're not really coming here to read too much. They're just coming here to buy and actually transact on the platform, like most GPay users. You can enter your PIN code, make sure it delivers, as GPay has 60 million users across the country. Put in your shipping information. Here I'm ordering, some nachos from Well-Versed that I would like to have. Put in my address and so on and so forth. All of this information is yours, the brand's information. This is not something that Google owns. This is all passed through to you and is yours to kind of both manage and utilize as you see best. And then finally, when it comes to payment, it is a seamless payment through UPI, through the GPay interface. There is no credit cards, there's no COD. It's just integrated in, and you can go ahead and proceed to pay. So this is just one of the many, many integrations coming up soon. We're super excited. We have 5 brands going live on GPay. Like I said, Well-Versed, Plum, Uncultured, Bohobi, as well as Dilihu Coffee. We'll be rolling out to more merchants shortly. Do get in touch, as well as the PhonePe integration that will be coming, and a microsite that if you would like to power your website through LBB, go ahead and get in touch with us and we'll make it happen for you. I think somebody's found some fun sketch pens to draw on the screen. If you could please clear that out. Yes, thank you so much. Next up, how do we take content to transactions? So one of the things that, of course, as as you've seen video explode, Instagram explode, and people consume a lot of information through media. One of the biggest questions we always get is, how do I drive that into a transaction, right? How do I actually take someone from looking at something to buying something? And that's really a journey, that begins with obviously high quality content that many of you have partnered with us with and continue to. And it also goes with creating relevant information that really connects to your brand very directly. So I'd love to show you a great demo. We have a lot of these units on the LBB product. We also power similar units by our catalog integration with Instagram and Facebook. So when you watch, you can see taggable photos on Instagram that are tagged to our shop. You can go and discover our catalog on Instagram as well as on our platform, where you can see content and you can see a great look, for example, and buy it right away. So here's a cool feature from our app where you can check out a beautiful dress, and you can see what the person who's in the video is wearing. This lady is wearing some jutis and a dress, and both are featured and connected to the video, so you can discover it right away. If I'm interested, I can tap right away, check out the slides, and say, hey, this looks really great. I want to recreate that look, and go ahead and add it to my bag. And that's how simple it is. Many of these are coming not just on the LBB platform, but off the LBB platform as well. And there are lists we can create. There are brand recommendations as well as product videos like these. And we would love to power these for you as we aim to create the really gold standard of taking content to commerce, not just on LBB, but off the platform as well. Next up is inquiries and catalogs. So this is something we're super excited about. Over the last couple of months, we've seen the number of merchants who want to come online, start selling, who want to actually be able to access customers online, maybe because their store is not being operational, maybe because they have other constraints when it comes to their team. We've seen that number just double and triple, and it's been a really, really fantastic response. With that, we've also seen that there are a lot of nuances to online selling that many of you may not be familiar with. For example, having GST under the normal scheme, many merchants may not have that, as the thresholds are very different. You may have very heavy items that are very expensive to ship or almost impossible to ship. Or you may have very high priced items, which users and consumers on the internet today may not be very well versed with purchasing. Folks usually like to purchase something that they have to make less decisions about. And so things that may be over 5,000 rupees sometimes don't work as well online. For that purpose, we started thinking, what can we build for you? What can we build for those folks doing home decor, doing lifestyle, doing high price fashion, that will at least allow you to get customers through all the offerings on LBB, if not sell directly, right? And that's what we set out to build with this new unit called Inquiries and Catalogs. So here I am on the LBB app. I pop into home decor, check out some lovely brands that have been recommended. I go over and check out, something I really like, and it's from Thabisa. I say, hey, here's the catalog. Let me go check out what products they sell. So I can go open the catalog. I can see what items they have, scroll through them, look at all of them, select the one I want to get in touch with, and just get in touch directly. When I complete this flow, I put in my phone number, I put in an inquiry. The merchant who's on the other side gets a message, and they can just continue the conversation right on WhatsApp. So LBB steps out of the way, gets the customer to you, and you can go forward from there. Really, the magic of all of this is in the catalog, right? So starting today, you can actually get in touch with us, with our merchant onboarding team, and upload your catalogs with your recommendations on LBB. You can get them showcased. You can show other people what you have and see people actually click through and start talking to you. Merchants who have catalogs on the platform have seen a 30 to 40% increase in the number of people looking at content and going to transactions, getting in touch with them, and having conversations with merchants. And that's really what matters. This beautiful community and the beautiful content, taking people to actually connect with you and start talking to you and buying from you. By the way, if you already sell on LBB or plan to sell on LBB, of course, this is not as relevant, but your catalog will be showing up. You can check it out right away on the app and web, and that will be directly purchasable, right? So like I said, two different ways to showcase a catalog. The one that we've just built out are for folks who may not be able to sell online, And then, of course, folks who are selling online are already integrated very well with the content on LBB. Take the conversation into WhatsApp and foster your customers from there. We're very excited about this. Do get in touch if you'd like to mobilize this for your brand. And finally, what's been happening with logistics on LBB? Well, apart from obviously adhering to all the compliances and all the government regulations out there, one of the biggest things we mobilized has been hyper local delivery for your brand. This is particularly relevant to those folks selling things that are fragile in nature, that are temperature sensitive in nature, that is food that you want to get to someone, that is skincare that may be needed last minute, and it's something that you can avail on our platform from actually a couple of weeks ago. WeFast is the partner that we are working with. How this works is when you are enabled as a hyper local partner, if somebody is ordering from the city you have a option to ship from, be it in one city or multiple cities, the delivery pickup happens within 90 minutes and the customer is able to get it soon thereafter. This WeFast as a partner is excellent because they have a much larger radius than some of the other players like a Swiggy or a Dunzo out there. They are able to take things from Noida to Gurgaon. They're able to take things from from Indiranagar out to Whitefield, and are really able to service a larger location, but keeping in mind the time that's required to get the item to the customer. So those of you who are really looking to kind of do a lot more in the hyperlocal space, be more available faster, and have the ability to have the inventory levels and be able to actually service that customer need, please get in touch. We'll enable you for hyperlocal if you're not done already. Something we're super excited about, and we will be showcasing a lot more for our consumers over the next couple of months. And there's a lot more coming in the second quarter. So starting actually yesterday, we already have enabled shipping groups and bulk management. This was the number one feature we got from merchants, that why do I need to ship 4 different items going to the same person in 4 different clicks. This is something that we've solved for. It took us a lot of working with our merchant partners, our delivery partners, as well as having a great design. This is live, available to all merchants who are already on the platform. New merchants will get this when they come on the platform, and they'll be able to see this. Along with this, you'll be also be able to manage your orders in bulk. So you don't have to do it one at a time. You can do all of them at the same time. Please do check it out. We're all ears for feedback. We'll continue to improve this. This incorporates hyperlocal delivery. This incorporates anything to do with any of our other delivery partners. Also incorporates any warnings to do with zone-based shipping, if there are lockdowns, if there are areas that are not serviceable at a specific time in 2020. So we've done a lot of work here to help your order management easier, to reduce costs of logistics, and to make it faster for you to deliver a great product to your customers out there. We'll be coming out with catalog upload for both non-shop merchants, like we talked about in catalog inquiries. This is, don't get me wrong, you can actually start uploading your catalog right away. It just goes through our own process where we make sure that the quality levels and the photos are to the standard that we'd like it to be. But we will be making this self-service so that you can do it for yourself in the very near future. We're working on ways where you can edit the photos when you get them uploaded, where you can beautify them so that you can actually get great inquiries, great transactions right out the door when you get your catalog on LBB. You'll also see the ability to actually request a photo shoot that will be coming out soon, and is again already available as a service for you to avail. Finally, being able to manage your own logo, cover photo, brand info, something that we've been doing for you. We'll be opening it up so that you can change it more frequently and that you can manage it much more actively. This will be actually coming out within the next 10 days. Deeper WhatsApp integration. So we work very closely with the Facebook and WhatsApp teams, as well as partners such as Freshdesk, to build deep integrations. So what does a deep WhatsApp integration mean? It means when you get a message saying something's low in stock, you can just reply via WhatsApp and we'll update the stock right away. Really interesting stuff that WhatsApp has enabled. LBB is going to be building out. And remember, this is all stuff that goes out through the integrations out to all the other platforms that you want to enable for your brand. And then finally, something that's been requested by you and we are working on is to bundle different items together. Particularly those of you in the skincare, specialty foods, and fashion segments have had this need of wanting to sell 2 or 3 items together. giving that ability to you and allowing you to create really great bundles so that people can sample different things as they are discovering your brand is something that will be coming out soon as well. So I've gone through a lot, right? And now a lot of new launches, a lot of new stuff that's coming out already there. So let's talk about what's best for your kind of business, right? So let's start it with building your brand. If you're looking to just build your brand, right, you're not looking to necessarily at this moment in time get direct online sales. Upload your catalog and LBB. Start getting inquiries. Start building a customer database. We have millions of customers coming to us looking for you, and they want to get in touch with you. Get their information. Start talking to them. Start converting them into buying customers. Right. One of the main things you can do to start building your brand is to show people what you offer them, because that's really what they want to know. What is this product and how can I get it? Content to commerce, like we talked about, having content out there working with us or creating your own and putting it on the LBB product and being able to guide them straight to your brand or to your catalog or to a direct transaction on our platform as well. If you're looking to drive direct sales, well, of course, content to commerce is very relevant. Some of you have already worked with us on creating this and having that for your consumers. Microsite and third-party integration is going to be huge for you from a distribution perspective. We are one of the first partners working with a lot of these PhonePe, GPay, and Paytm to do this for small businesses. And we would be very happy to support you to get on there and get access to a lot more new customers that you can then make into your customers. Selling on LBB, of course, and direct selling that's been on the platform and that you're very encouraged to do if you'd like to drive direct sales. If you do not have GST registration, it is difficult to do online sales on a marketplace. There are restrictions where you can ship, and it has to be within state. So if you don't have a GST registration, again, we encourage you to showcase your catalog and get direct inquiries. Take it on WhatsApp and facilitate the sale directly with you versus going through the platform. And this is easier to do as you work your way to getting GST registration, which of course is very much up to you and how you look at your business and how you want to develop it. Inquiries for large or heavy items or selling price over 3,000 rupees. This is something that we've seen. The inquiries piece and the catalog showcase piece work particularly well in the categories such as home or in high-end fashion, where it's going to be a little bit longer of a sales cycle, where the customer needs to know some more information before they're willing to make such an expensive purchase. So instead of trying to kind of convert them directly online, you want to try and have a conversation. These customers are the ones you want to develop. And so taking them into inquiries, having them on WhatsApp and being able to speak with them is really very, very beneficial for you. And then, of course, if you're in specialty foods, fragile beauty items, essential needs, all of the options available apply to you based on how you would like to build your brand. And hyperlocal shipping is something that you can leverage to give your customers an amazing experience. They want that cereal. They want to eat it the next morning. Can you make it happen for them? Well, we're here to support that and make that happen for you. So this gives you a layer of what is best for your business. Again, we'll be making this available to you, and we'll be helping you decide. And do get in touch if you have any questions both about our platform and using these types of technologies and types of assets of our platform as well. Finally, I'd like to wrap up by thanking you for being part of the community and allowing us the opportunity to build your businesses into brands, build brands better with LBB. We are going to be starting weekly calls with our product and technology team so that we can have a lot more regular feedback from a more diverse set of merchants. There are many people we work with on the business community that give us very, very valuable feedback, but we want to hear more voices in a more regular fashion. So watch out for an email from us. I'll ask you to kind of sign up and come and speak with us. Speak with us about tech that's happening on LBB. Speak with us about product and tech that you'd like to use. We're making ourselves accessible to you so we can help you build brands better. Thank you, and go ahead and go to the website and find, sell, and advertise on LBB, and watch out for a lot more information coming from us. Make sure you keep an eye out on emails, keep an eye out on all of these different marketing channels that we're talking to you on. Shalvi, back to you.
Thank you, Dhruv. This was a wonderful session, and congratulations to the entire team on the GPay partnership. That's fantastic. And on that note, I have two very interesting questions that have come in for you. The first one is, what is the future of online and offline retail relative to each other?
Got it. Thanks for that, Shalvi. That's a really, very, very interesting question. I think 2020, everybody's, it's top of mind for everybody. I think, a lot of what we've seen, both trends that are happening domestically as well as happening outside of India as well, is that the offline channel and the offline touch point is one where you're really getting a person to sample, to have a conversation, to drive a larger decision, right? So when it's to do with higher priced items, or if it's to do with items where there's customization involved, when it's to do with items where there's a lot of personal input, you should be thinking about your offline channel as an experience that you're building for your customer to come in and have, right? It's not the place they want to come and see 50 products. It's not a place where you can, unfortunately, for the next couple of months, have 50 customers in one room at one time. So really what you should be fostering your offline space of is more aligned with an experience that the customer needs to get about your brand, right? Can you, for example, leverage your store for a workshop where you showcase your products? Can you, for example, leverage your store for someone to walk in, try on something that they already have booked online, right? Can you, for example, let people come in and see your newest stuff in your store, but then allow them to access your catalog online through WhatsApp, through LBB, through wherever you would want to put it? And that's really one of the big aspects that offline and online will play. Offline will be the experience, and online will be a lot of where the discovery as well as the closure can happen. Another very interesting trend that we've seen within offline and online is that many people will be in the store wanting to use online to actually close a transaction or to discover more, right? So GPay as well as PhonePe have QR codes that enable a person to walk into your store, scan a QR code, and if they can only see 5 items in your store, they can see 500 items of yours online, right? These types of connections between offline and online are going to become omnipresent, as you would want the safety of your consumers to be maintained, as consumers want to pop in, check something out, buy it whenever they want to buy it. And the seamless connection between the offline experience and the online discovery and the online sale is really where everybody should be working towards. It's already happening in different parts of the world very, very aggressively, and it's just going to scale up much more in India as we go through 2020 and beyond. It also allows you to save rent and allows you to really think about, what your offline presence is for, to leverage it for the best use possible versus like just another warehouse or just another rack with a bunch of products lying on there. And that's how you should be thinking about offline and online.
Awesome. The next question we have here for you is from Kritika, and it is how to increase the consumer traffic on our brands.
So I think that's a very wide, there's a lot of answers to that question. And I think it depends really on what kind of brand you have and how you're looking to do that. But I think, a couple of basic principles, right? I think first and foremost, given that we live in an era of attention and we live in an era of attention deficit, it is very important as you build your brand and get bigger to try and partner with as many partners who are analogous to your brand and who have the same values and the same virtues that you do, and go out to the same type of consumers, right? Now, those partnerships could be with fellow brands. Those partnerships could be with platforms. Those partnerships could be with content creators or influencers. But I think one of the first things that, that we need to do as a community of people who are getting from step A to step B is trying to, is forget about trying to accelerate our way to being, having a large brand presence or having, hundreds of millions of followers, but really see the stepping stones for what they are. Partnerships with people who'll foster that, who'll foster your brand, make other people get to know about them. So I would highly encourage you to think about it. You see this reflected in even how we are thinking about distribution, right? We are not thinking about distribution as we only want people to come to LBB. Of course, over a long period of time, we want to be that scale. But in the near term, it is best to work with everybody out in the ecosystem and help both brands and businesses and consumers get discovered, on multiple platforms at the same time. So I think one, I would really encourage that's going to be one of your biggest ways to drive traffic, drive awareness about your brand. The second one that I would encourage is to focus on mobile experiences. Many of you may have websites, may be in the process of setting them up and using them. The main thing to remember when you're building these is that your website is actually not the first place many consumers' journey starts. Their journey starts typically on their phone in Google or in Facebook or in Instagram, right? Majority of people start their journey to find you that way. So if your website is not mobile first and extremely fast, then you have a large chance where you may not get found or you may not get sales. That is something I would highly encourage you guys to think about when you're thinking about driving traffic. And just from a technology standpoint, it's probably one of the most lowest hanging fruit out there. Be mobile optimized and be extremely fast in the experience. Think about it yourself. You're used to watching a video with zero latency at high quality. People are used to coming to some website and being able to check out and get find the item and and get out of there within a couple of minutes, if not faster, right? And that's really what you should be aspiring to give them with tech. By the way, shameless plug, our microsites are 3 times faster than Shopify websites, and that's why we are so focused on building mobile microsites, because we want to make them super fast and super friendly for you. And the third aspect I'll tell you about thinking about from a basic principle standpoint is a huge channel that is under leveraged but has a lot of long-term benefit is Google. We have seen a lot of brands building themselves up on the Instagram, Facebooks of the world, and we've seen you guys all know how it becomes pay to play and how it is extremely competitive after a point to try and get more traction and to try and get more customers. Google, on the other hand, has a lot of long-term shelf life. It does require consistent and long-term investment. But if you can build written content or video content or media content that is Google accessible, okay, that is a fantastic channel that doubles down on customers not only coming to you for the first time, but coming back to you. And that in its own is very under-leveraged in today's world. There are many examples out there on the internet of folks who built their brand just through the power of people looking for them. And the reason Google is under leveraged is also because it is extremely high intent. So when someone is looking for skincare and you have great information out there in a written format or in an evergreen format, that's really the right way to think about it. People will find you even 2 years later. But whereas if you think about Instagram, you put a video out there, it disappears, right? It's gone from the spectrum of information. So it's a very under leveraged long-term channel. Think about Google search, think about organic search. The people you'll get from organic search, you'll also see, and we've seen this in our data, they're better in terms of lower returns, higher affinity, and they will come back to you and to your website and not go to an Amazon to buy your brand from there. And so think about that when you're thinking about the channel that you're building on. So these are some of the basic principles that I would say: partnerships, mobile first and very fast, and leveraging search as a channel and taking a long-term aspect on that channel.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dhruv. This was wonderful.
Absolutely.
I'm sure everyone learned a lot of new things about our product and tech that goes behind it.
Fantastic. Thank you, Shalvi.
Now, I would just like to tell you all that we're going to take a 5-minute break so that everyone can go take a little bit of a washroom break, get some water, get some tea, coffee, everything. We will do the next 2 sessions in 5 minutes. Just a quick reminder, if you guys are posting this on Twitter, we are available on @from_LBB. On Instagram, we're available on @LBB for business. Do use the hashtag LBB Makers Meet. And we will be back in 5 minutes. Okay, guys, I hope everyone's back and 5 minutes are up, so I'm going to start. The next session that we have is the session will be conducted by Akanksha Singh Devi and Abhijit Singh. They will be taking you guys through the multiple ways that you can actually collaborate with LBB via content, videos, social media, and of course, the wide plethora of solutions that we offer to multiple brands that work with us. So just a reminder before we begin, again, use the hashtag LBB Makers Meet, and if you are tagging us on Twitter, we're available on @from_LBB, and on Instagram, we're available on @LBB for business. So do tag us, do use the hashtags, and over to you guys.
Thanks, Shalvi. I'm going to start quickly sharing my screen. Right, I hope you're back after your break and I've not interrupted any of your serious coffee drinking. So I'm Ansha and I lead content operations at LBB. And today, after Dhruv has taken you through what's on the screens, I'm going to share a little bit more about what happens on the front end of LBB and what you see on the web and the app. And hopefully this will give you an idea of what we are as a brand and what we can do for you as a brand. First, though, if you are enjoying this session, any thoughts that you have, comments, anything really about what we're doing today, don't forget to use hashtag LBB Makers Meet. If you're on Twitter and you want to tag us at from LBB, and for Instagram at LBB for Business. Of course, if you take a screenshot of this session and I am looking truly terrible, feel free to use Photoshop and make me look better. Otherwise, I will DM you before the day is done. Right, now that we have finished with that, here's a little bit more about how you can work with us. I'll dive straight into the agenda for what Abhijit, my colleague, and I will be talking about. We're going to be talking about content and information, how it would help you, the videos and product reviews that we do, and Abhijit will take over for engagement and lead generation, digital experiences, display ads, and of course, influencer collaborations, which is very high on priority for multiple brands. So what do we do at LBB, right? Be it the written word, pictures, videos. LBB is all about creating engaging content that all of our users can really relate to. It's accessible, it's like real life. All of us, we have that one friend in that circle who knows everything. Where do we go for coffee? They know. What dress brand to buy? They know. So we are that person who has these little nuggets of information, and we're that friend. But we also put these users directly in contact with brands like yours, so that it's far easier to drive that connect. Our objective, of course, is to link these brands directly with the users, which is why we believe that as a platform, we have multiple things that we can offer to you. And as I said, we drive the connect on a much more personal level. So we offer a variety of solutions, and the objective of all of this is to create brand awareness. If you want visibility, if you're a very new brand just starting out, and you want people to know about you, then being on LBB reaches out to our entire user base. And if at first they don't engage with you, of course, at least they know that you exist, they know about this brand. And once they see it, once they read about it, it's at the back of their mind. So your brand is already integrated into their minds. And after that, it can go step by step, drive traffic towards your brand, drive inquiries, generate leads, increase engagement. Of course, some of those Abhijit will talk about in more detail. But how do we do this, right? You all probably have used, I hope you have used the LBB app or the website. We create multimedia content across lifestyle categories. Currently, these lifestyle categories are food, groceries, chocolates, women's fashion, men's fashion, including apparel, shoes, bags. This is across, this is both online as well as offline. Of course, currently we're focusing more on online because, stay home, stay safe, right? The other categories that we're working with are gifting, stationery, body care, beauty, which is skincare, hygiene for men as well as women. The idea is to get users to really trust us as a brand, because as if you've noticed what LBB does, we're very tried and tested. Our content creators will never just say you should do that. They'll be trying it firsthand. There are a couple of formats that we do use. Typically, what we call LBB recommendations are 300-word articles that are based on either a brand or a product, and the creators' actual impressions of that. Their actual experiences of the creators either using the brand or their experiences in general, right? Especially in categories such as beverage, beauty, skincare, snacks. These are some things that people who want to know more about it really want to know someone's actual opinion. They don't just want to be told, okay, this is what it does, this is what it is. They want live action. And this is what LBB does. These 300-word records typically have about 8 to 10 images that also draw attention of the user, giving people the actual, seeing is believing, right? So when you see these photographs, when you see these images on the app, you get a proper understanding of what you're really getting into. Of course, some of these have video content and show the actual authenticity of the product or the brand, with minimal effort from the user. You don't have to swipe, you don't have to look at anything. Autoplay has been a good friend to us. So people automatically get engaged with what we're seeing. We also obviously have listicles. Love them or hate them, you are going to click on something that tells you that these are the 10 best things you want, because this means that we've done our research. You don't need to do your research. We're doing your job for you. We also create experiences on the platform through events, contests that showcase brands, products, through experts, through in-house LBB content creators. But for the experiences and events, my colleague Abhijit will take over. But to understand how the user is engaged with anything that is on LBB, we have a couple of guidelines that we have been very strongly following since the very beginning. They are the headlines with USP and price points and emotion, because we firmly believe that the first thing that anyone actually sees. It's critical that anyone looking at something is immediately engaged by what they're seeing. It tells the user exactly what they're getting into, what is the USP, whether it's a price point, whether it's an actual emotion. It really calls out to you, and that's what we believe at LBB has been crucial in getting our users sort of hooked to the content that we create. Indian looking and high resolution imagery. We think, of course, that, I would want to see something that I can relate to. I don't want to look, if you're talking about a shampoo that is great for someone with curly hair, I don't want to see it on someone who has really, really straight hair. There's a huge mismatch there. So we firmly believe that keeping it as real as possible helps users to connect and resonate with what they're seeing or reading. Much more likely to click on something that you can relate to, right? So that's how we keep our imagery as close to home as possible. The very direct and clearly defined CTA. What we believe is that, you've taken someone's time, you have given them information. They need to know exactly what they can do after they have consumed this information. As Dhruv took you through a couple of things earlier, whether it's buy now, shop now, inquire now, the CTA button, which is the call to action button, which leads a user to do something very directly after they've consumed this comment, is what we firmly believe in. And then that's also great for brands such as yours. So once they see something on LBB, they're directly in contact with you one way or the other. Of course, the other is relatable and organic content and creatives. This is something I just spoke about a little bit before. It's a very first-hand and authentic, real experience of a user. All of us, if you've used LBB, you'll notice that any of the content creators are actually telling you what they feel, which is why we don't necessarily say 500 things about a particular brand, but we delve deep into what that brand really stands for and the USP, and we try to bring out the USP of that brand in a very real and organic way. The other thing we use heavily is SEO. We carefully create these searchable content pieces that are very organic, but they also have keyword focus. I'm sure you've come across a couple of websites and apps that will keep repeating the same word over and over again so that they rank high in SEO. That's not what we do. We do focus very, very heavily on SEO, but what we do is we work on 4 types of SEO. So you will have different levels of content that is created. One is very generic for someone who's perhaps just looking for coffees to buy. And then we go slightly deeper into it and understand what kind of coffees they want. And eventually we also cater to a market where someone knows exactly what they want and they're looking for specific brands and very specific detailed information. So you'll find that we'll have some stuff saying, best coffee brands. Then we'll have best coffee brands for coffee from Chikmagalur, or best coffees to use for a French press. And that's how we work on SEO, be it long tail or. I'm going to show you a couple of examples of how we actually, what our content looks like. So if you look on the first one that a colleague of ours, Shripati, has written, it's carrot soaps to coffee vanilla bath salts. These bath essentials under 500 from this, there are 500 and under essentials from these brands. Now here, of course, like I was saying, it's a very clear headline. It gives you exact information that is bath essentials, it's quirky, it's under 500. Same with spa bars, face wash or straws. This is an amazing brand called Bare Necessities that started out in Bangalore. Of course, it's available on LBB, and that's what I meant. So immediately when you see what you do right in front of you. Oh, Android doesn't like bare necessities. No, if you can just erase that. But if you're bored, feel free to ping me. I will wrap this up quicker. So again, it's very clear, concise. You know exactly what you're getting into. If you go ahead and read this recommendation, you'll actually find that the creator has used these products, and they will pick up a few products that they feel very strongly about. So you know that this person knows what they're talking about. It's a very trusted voice. You can see this in the number of saves this recommendation actually has. This one has over 8,500 saves on it, which means 8,500 people are interested in it and have sort of bookmarked it. And this isn't to say that 8,000 people have viewed it, but these 8,000 people have actually saved it. The other one is Nogo, which is again a Bangalore-based brand, and you can see in the headline that they do custom kitchen needs and they have a social impact as well. In fact, Nogo is a small it's a village near the Nogo Dam, which is why this is named of it. And the tribals in that area are actually the people who work on these products. So you know exactly what you're getting into. Of course, inquire now. In fact, when Dhruv had actually released that update for us, and we could do this inquire now, in just under about 12 to 15 hours, this brand had about 45 to 50, and it just escalated from there. So this is what I mean by a clear CTA. You know exactly what to do. You click on a button and LBB is removed from that situation, and the user is very, very directly connected to your brand. Of course, shop now is just easy for everyone. You can literally shop right now. And in the other case, call now, buy now. This links the user back to you, whether it's your website, whether it's a mobile phone number, whether it's a WhatsApp number that they can text. It's very, very clear. So now the trending categories on LBB in the past few months have been home and kitchen, women's fashion, snacks and groceries, services, pets, beauty and body care. I'm going to take you a little bit through what fulfillment rate is. For us, fulfillment rate means someone actually clicking on that CTA button, whether it is call now, shop now, buy now, or inquire now. As you can see on the left-hand side of your screen, the buy here option for Ecoberry means that you can buy it on LBB. Now, 14% for home and kitchen is a deal for us because we found that everyone's staying home and they're looking for key categories that really help. And like Suchita had said at the very beginning, people are looking for functional stuff. So we tap into trends like this. I wish we didn't have to tap into a trend called COVID-19, but unfortunately staying home and doing that is super important. So we have been doing that as well. Women's fashion, snacks and groceries, and beauty and body care is one of the newest categories. It's been just about a month and a half or 2 months since we actually started writing a lot of content, creating content, and my colleague Akshita will take you far deep into how we've been working on it, all of it. But these are the trending categories, and this is what people are interested in, and this is what they're going through to all of the brands that we have recommended. Going on next to video series and products, let's all be honest, if Shakespeare were around, he would really have to write plays that are about 15 seconds long and you can watch on an IG story, because no one's watching too much longer than that. But you know, it is true, if a picture speaks 1,000 words, then video speaks 1,000,000. And so at LBB, we've been experimenting and creating a lot of visual content, integrating it with video, integrating it with moving pictures and just pictures in general. So through LBB TV, what we do is create engaging visual experiences for our users. And it can be a very simple, easy product review that you just really love the packaging of a particular brand, or you really like what's inside the packaging. We also use long form series and get users acquainted with your brand if you really want to delve into more detail about what the best way to use your brand is and how to consume it best. This not only creates brand awareness, but it also shows the usability in case you're a product that you need to show a little bit. My colleague, I'll explain in a bit, but my colleague Shalvi actually used this very interesting pen sort of epilator for her eyebrows. And that really resonated with a lot of people because you could actually see how it was being done. It builds authenticity, it drives engagement. You can demonstrate the actual way a product works without going into too many words, because sometimes as much as you read, right, you can't explain without showing the actual action. So all of these videos not only go up on the web and the app, but they also go out on social media. So you build a bigger base through DMs, inquiries, and again, there's always a clear CTA on those as well. And videos it's great for a consumer as well, because you're consuming something without really making too much of an effort. It's convenient, it's easy, you know exactly what you're seeing. And when it comes to videos, you can't really embellish the truth, right? First reactions are always first reactions. So like I said, these are a few ways that we have been creating videos. We did a very interesting series called Papa Ji Cooks for Father's Day, which concluded a couple of weeks ago. Home tours is where people take you through their homes, very real, very authentic views of their house. This or that, you glow girls, stay in by this. Sasta Sundar Tikau is our latest fun series, or where our colleagues and influencers as well try and test stuff that is literally Sasta Sundar Tikau, which basically is super useful. I'm going to show you a couple of videos if you can just...
Hello everybody. Keep this in.
So that's the one I was saying about Shalvi.
I'm going to take my makeup off first. Under eye, cream, serum, oil.
All of them actually trying out, telling you their problems. That's another colleague of us, Saloni.
So nice. This is just amazing.
So some real videos out there, right? You can't scam that. You know that this is the truth. This is honest feedback given to you about a brand or product. This was our beauty category. Like I said, we integrate a lot of visuals and we keep it authentic. You would have seen Shalvi, you would have seen Shripati, you would have seen Saloni. They're all vastly different people, but with one objective of trying out something and breaking down the usability of a product for the users. The other series is, as I said, Papa Ji Cooks. This was a Father's Day special that we did, putting the limelight on fathers and cooking. Naturally, there had to be a joke on WhatsApp. Dad jokes, they cannot be separated even if... So this is an interesting series that we did, and it was full, the entire run up to Father's Day and maybe about a week or so after that also, our programming was filled with awesome dads trying to cook and making everyone feel like they are millennials. So it was absolutely entertaining. The other is, as I was saying, home tours, which is real people taking us through their homes. So the idea of this was that you can directly see, you can see them pointing out to particular objects, you can see them showing you stuff that they use, the functionality of course, copies have to be everywhere. So this was discovering awesome homes and home decor brands on LBB Home Tours. The great thing about this is not only do you see that video, but you don't even have to go hunting for this particular brand, because all of these had directly been linked to the brand that the person is talking about. So it's right there, it's easy, you just click on it, what you see is what you get. And that trust factor is built, you know, it's not just someone in a store pointing out the good things about a particular brand or a particular product. These are real people with real homes and real use cases. And of course, having to just click on a link and get to that product makes it far more simple. Here's a couple of more stats on this. In the beauty category, we have Shalvi here, who actually tried Tribe Concepts organic products. I urge you to go ahead and check it out on LBB TV. This one raked up over 1 lakh video views and over 2.5 lakh impressions, which was great for this because she showed you exactly what you're getting into, why you should use it, the kind of products that they have, why she finds something better than the other. And she really gave a her real opinion of why she should use. You can check out the comments. People were actually engaging with her, asking her questions of what her perceptions were. And of course, she went ahead and responded to each one of them, really engaging with people for a brand and not directly as LBB. This was Shalvi as a person. The other one was Colavita, which was a cooking oil. The idea behind this was to drive awareness and demonstrate product usage, the health benefits of all of this. And again, this one too had nearly 6 lakh impressions and over 2 lakh video views, really showing that video, if you watch something, people are watching it through. The other one was a very interesting product review that we did with Sakshi Sindwani, who is, of course, a champion of body positivity, along with Chavi. Chavi is an our in-house video star. And they were speaking about the goodness of this coffee. They spoke about the packaging, what they liked, what they didn't like, how they got it, and what their real impressions are. And if you watch this video, it's very interesting to see how they react slightly differently to each other. And, you get a very authentic and honest view. And there's no repeats, there's no take 1, take 2, and take 3. This is take 1 from beginning. And so you really know how they feel about a particular product. This one too had some great numbers on them with the 2.5 lakh plus video views and over just about 5 lakh plus impressions. So yeah, so that's what the front end of LBB looks like. And these are multiple ways in which your brand gets visibility. You can create awareness, engagement. For the rest of the session, I'm of course going to hand over to Abhijit. Abhi, over to you.
Thank you, thank you, Akansha. Let me just share my screen. You can switch off your screen share.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Thank you for that introduction. Hi, my name is Abhijit, and I lead brand strategy at LBB. As part of the next presentation, I will be taking you all through 4 quick solutions that can help meet a variety of marketing objectives. We will obviously start with lead generation and engagement. On the outset, let me just say that LBB can help you, generate high quality leads by reaching out to the most exciting audiences across the country with your brand messaging. So that's what the idea behind the lead generation is all about. We do this by, creating engaging and organic content on the platform, by hosting contest that drives engagement. We drive sampling activities for your products and offer product visibility to our users. All the leads that are generated through these activities, they are basically sent back or they are forwarded to the brand, which you guys can then use to sort of remarket and then turn these users into potential long-term customers. So that's the whole idea behind generating leads and how we work around it. I'll be taking you guys through 2 quick case studies on how we approached this previously. First one is Clarks. So Clarks, it was a really interesting sort of a campaign we did. The idea was obviously to create, generate leads for them and then invite people back to their stores. That was sort of a 2-fold objective. And how we approached this was basically we created a series of 7 contests. And people had to participate in all these 7 contests to stand a chance to win a hamper from Clarks. And basically in the process, they were obviously giving out their names, their social media handles, and all the other qualified questions that the brand wanted. And they basically, at the end of it, we had 3,200 people who participated in all 7 contests that ran for over 4 weeks. So we used to go ahead with 2 contests, every week, and 3,200 people ended up participating across all contest series of which was obviously 7, and then all these leads were then forwarded back to Clarks. So that's how it worked out. Second case study was with City Furnish. As you know, it's a furniture brand. The idea was obviously to increase their social media reach and to generate leads. So we created this really interesting Snap the GIF contest, wherein obviously people have to snap the GIF and they posted screenshots screenshots on their social media handles using the hashtag and then following City Furnish. What we saw at the end was that it got 850 plus leads overall, which were then obviously forwarded to City Furnish, and we also were able to reach out to 100,000 accounts. So that in the sense was overall objective, and it was a really successful campaign for us. Next, obviously, are digital experiences. So this is the second part. Digital experiences obviously are, that's all there is to now. We can't go out. Uh, so if you can't go out in the world, we will bring the world to you. And that's the whole idea behind doing, digital experiences. Over the last 3 months, we at LBB have, taken the pandemic in our stride and adapted to bring entertainment and positive experiences to our users through workshops, masterclasses, webinars, and DIY sessions. With over 60 to 80 experiences happening every month online, which tap into categories like beauty, arts and crafts, cooking, DIY, anything, we assure that brands get a super high intent audience. So we make sure that the leads that we generate here and people who want to participate in this event, just like the one that is happening here, they are super high intent. And there is an undivided attention of say 60 to 80, 45 to 60 minutes on any session. So that's an undivided attention given to your brand. And we also showcase real and authentic display and use of product, and that's what really it's all about. It's about showcasing your products. It's about undivided attention. It's about high intent audience who are joining it. And what we have seen is that, a lot of people end up sort of, participating. They're not just mute spectators of in the session. They end up participating because most of these workshops are, highly experiential. They're functional. People can actually use them and, take something out of them. And one of the great thing that I would like to point out is that from registering for an event to actually participating or joining the event online, that conversion is at whopping 50%. That's a really good number to showcase. So for example, if you have 200 people signing up for an event, you will have at least 100 people joining it for the event, which is obviously a great number. To showcase that, how we did it, there are two quick case studies that I can take you guys through. One is obviously Afterglow. So we have realized that, and we are really bullish on, beauty and skincare as a category. And at LBB also, we are, driving this category because it gets a lot of really high CTR. So the first case study is with Afterglow. This was a DIY body scrub making session. We had almost 208 people who signed up for this session, and we had over 100 people who joined in at this session. And it was a huge success from a brand's perspective because ultimately people could use things at their homes to create this DIY body scrub. And we saw a lot of interesting comments from users also telling us what a great session it was. Second was a case study with Billy Who. So as you know, they are, it's a food and beverage coffee maker. And obviously, if you haven't tried Billy Who, it's a really good brand to try out. And obviously, the objective was to create awareness. In between, we were all stuck at home and we weren't getting our coffees the way we wanted to. And this basically showed people how to get or how to make great coffee at home. And that was the whole idea behind Billy Who. And we had 150 plus registrations in a matter of 5 days. We had over 75 plus people joining in and actually making coffee on the go. So we gave them the idea about what are the ingredients they need to keep handy before the event started. And alternatively also, people who signed up, some samples can be sent to them. So while they are on the session, they can actually use the samples to create their coffee. And that's what makes it a very interesting session. Moving on, the third thing I'm going to be talking about are display ads. We know a lot about display ads, but at LBB we do it slightly differently. Apart from videos and written content, obviously, this is, display ads can be used to amplify reach. And, So and there are different display ads that we can sort of have on LBB. One is obviously homepage banner, which can be used if you want a sustained awareness over the longer period of time. Another is category banner, which can be utilized if you are looking to target a very specific narrow audience on a very particular category, say for example fashion or lifestyle or food or whatever else. And the third is obviously ad blocker, which gives you 100% SOV. What it means is basically no matter where a person is coming from and no matter where they're landing in the ecosystem, this is the first ad that they will see. This is really interesting if you if you are coming, if you have a really unique proposition, if you have a very time-bound event-led campaign, if you want to generate leads, or if there is a new launch of a product is happening, so this is the right ad to go about it. And obviously overall it's great for driving traffic back to your website, bringing awareness, and even help generate leads. So that's about display ads. This is just a sort of a showcase of how ads can look like, and what we pride ourselves on doing is basically creating all these ads in-house. So we take the imagery from you and we try and make it in the way that it will work with our users, because at the end of the day we know what is it that they want. As everybody on this call before me has said, that keeping it native, keeping it organic is the way going forward. The user is smart, they can see through which is an ad and which is not. So it's really important to sort of keep the content really organic, really unique, and have a very clear cut CTA on what the expectation is. And that's why sort of ads on our platform end up driving a higher CTR than any industry benchmark. So industry benchmark would be say 0.5 to 1%. We can get you at least 1% plus. From that perspective, there's a case study for chiaroscuro. Now, the objective here was to drive users to brand's website from a banner ad, and to do so in just 10 days. And we were able to get over 2.5 lakh impressions in 10 days with a 1.34% CTR. That means over 4,000 people actively engaged with the brand and went to the website. And what the conversion was, that the brand can sort of confirm. But overall, this was how it worked, and it worked really well for chiaroscuro. The last on the bit is influencer collaboration. And this basically is the final solution that we're going to be talking about. So the idea is obviously we can help connect with influencers across categories, across the countries, across the platform. That goes without saying. And obviously this can help amplify the message to a wider audience. We have a community of 10,000 plus influencers who are on board LBB. So if you come to us, then we can obviously help you connect with different kind of influencers in different categories across the country. And of course, while we can help you connect with all these influencers, that isn't the best part about working with us when it comes to influencers. What is great, however, is the fact that we have created influencers in-house. As Kanksha was mentioning earlier, Shavi, for example, is an influencer in-house, and a lot of brands that come to us want to work with Shavi because she's just so great in front of the camera. And that's what has really been sort of taken this influencer part of our business to the next level, because these people have become trusted and loved faces with our users. They create content which is relatable. They create content which is native and organic, and they talk in a way that you and I would normally talk. And they don't talk like, how a model from a catalog would talk. And that's what has really worked when it comes to, traction with influencers. So yeah, and that basically is overall. So these are some of the faces that we have in-house. Some of them are actually in-house influencers, and obviously some are outsiders. But all of them have ended up creating content that makes sense for LBB, and we keep a very tight control in the sense of what is it that the brand wants, and mitigating it with the fact that how an influencer would eventually talk. So those are the two things where LBB plays a really important part. So while you guys can directly obviously go to an influencer, coming to LBB would help you in a way that we can help you sort of get to the right message, which helps the brand definitely, is relatable with our users, and also the influencer is really comfortable talking about, because that is the way they talk usually in. So yeah, and overall, basically, you can connect with LBB to build better brands. That just goes without saying. If this is too much information, guys, you can just head to LBB, just sign up on a form, and we will reach out to you, and we can provide all kinds of customized solutions for all kind of needs, all kind of marketing objectives you have. I would like to now hand over to Shalvi. I believe she has certain questions for us.
Yes, actually, I do. Fantastic session, Akanksha, Abhijit. I think you guys really covered a lot of talking points around LBB, and I hope the audience also enjoyed this. I actually have one super quick question for you, Abhijit, but in the best interest of time right now. And this is around advertising on LBB. Okay, great. How do you use e-commerce platforms such as LBB for product and brand promotion and generate business? We'd like some insights on strategies and tools and LBB's resources and services for the same. This has been asked by Harsh.
Harsh, thank you for that question. Thank you for asking the question, Shalvi. I think a strategy at LBB has always been, even our philosophy at LBB has been, to keep everything very native. So no matter what kind of content piece that we're trying to create, we try to keep it organic, we try to keep it natural, we try to keep it as less salesy as possible, because our consumers are smart guys and they can see through when there is too much plug-in from the brand, or when we're talking in their faces about how great a brand is. So that's not how the approach is. So strategically, we're trying to approach it in a way that keeps it sort of interesting all the time, keeps it native and organic and natural looking. In terms of solutions, obviously we can we can start by thinking about a new campaign, or we can help you amplify something that you're already doing at your end. In terms of tools that we can use, there's so many tools that we can use, guys. We can use content marketing, obviously that works really well. We can use engagement activities, we can do sampling for your brands, we can provide full stack solutions, we can create customized IPs. So I'll just give you an example of a customized IP, and Papaji Cooks obviously is a customized IP which we created during the pandemic. The other one would be quarantines. So realizing that how depressed we are while we are stuck at home, obviously during the initial phase of lockdown, we created this property called quarantines, which obviously takes from quarantine and tune. So that's not really smart, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, and the idea was obviously to bring in the best artists in the country to sort of do a live session which is which goes to everybody's rooms, like which takes entertainment back to the homes of people who are really stuck at home. And initial phases, none of us actually realized what is it that we're supposed to do here. So I think so that was one property that we created, and that was like a customized, obviously, LBB property. And then a lot of brands came to us and leveraged it. And so that's the idea also, to create topical, to create something that is more relatable, that is happening right now. And those are the customized properties that really works out well in the long term. And yeah, I hope that answers your question, Harsh. Over to you, Shalvi.
I think that does take care of everyone's queries. Thank you so much, Abhijit. Thank you, Akanksha. This was great.
Thanks.
And now, before we move on to the next session, you guys, a friendly reminder from me, if you all are posting about this on Twitter or on Instagram, our hashtag is hashtag LBB Makers Meet, and do tag us. We're available on @from LBB on Twitter and @LBB for Business on Instagram. And now we move on to our final segment, in fact, my favorite segment on LBB, which is Shop on LBB. And I'm handing this over to Akshita and Sneha for the details. Over to you guys.
Thanks, Shalvi. Hi, guys. I'm Akshita. I lead the merchant onboarding and growth team for LBB. I'll be joined by my colleague Sneha, who is our manager on the onboarding team. Starters, just for hygiene, if you're using any of our content using screenshots, please use hashtag LBB Makers Meet. On Twitter, we're at From LBB, and on Instagram, we're at LBB for Business. Okay, very quickly, what we'll be covering today is primarily three things. The first one being super important, what are actually the keywords and categories which are working on Shop on LBB, followed by what are the trends, relevant trends on LBB for 2020, and finally, how all of you can sell better on LBB. So I'll start off with keywords and categories that are working. So starting off with food and beverage. So as my name suggests, do remember to eat healthy this weekend. So that's exactly what's performing on LBB. Anything that's keto, anything that has words like organic, farm to table, healthy, all of it is performing well and has got traction on the platform. Subcategories like specialized coffee, breakfast essentials, condiments, alcohol mixes, all of these things are picking up on the platform and are getting orders. So very quickly, I'll take you through some of the examples. So if you guys notice, all of the product pictures that you see on the screen right now have that one keyword very evidently put out there. So if you see the peanut butter, it says it's a keto peanut butter, or if you see the khakra, it says it's a ragi punch khakra, or it's a cold brew. So you have to see carefully that the each keyword and USP of the product is shining out, and that is exactly what I was trying to tell you, that these are the keywords that are performing on the platform. Coming to beauty and personal care, so skincare and hair care as categories are growing on shop. So if I talk about skincare, things like face washes, face scrubs, serums are working. For hair care, hair oils, shampoos, conditioners are the products that people are searching for and are buying. And if we go back to what Suchita had said, customer nuances, so customers are looking for organic products, natural products, keywords like ayurveda in our beauty section. These are the things people are searching for. And even if you look at these examples here, things like charcoal, like again, a charcoal as a product is working well. Onion hair oil, because onion as an ingredient has a use case. So everything in beauty should have a use case, should have a keyword that shouts out what the product is for. Moving on to fashion for men and women. So what's performing? I mean, as we all know, most of us are still in lockdown. We're working from home, barely getting out. So comfort footwear, super important. I mean, things like kolhapuri slides is what is performing. Comfort clothing, so easy breezy dresses, graphic t-shirts, things that are simple to wear at home, comfortable to wear at home, even if you have to run for some errands. Things like that is working on the platform. If I talk of prints, floral prints are working pretty well. Masks, so masks, as we all know, have become a really important accessory as part of our fashion gear. We have to wear a mask every time we're moving out. It's something that designers all over the world are reinventing. They're making matching masks with outfits. So what kind of masks are working on our platform? Fun, printed, cotton fabric masks are doing well, especially if you guys have combo sets, because what we see is customers are not just buying one mask, but they're actually picking up combo sets for their full family. And of course, pricing is key. Again, these are just some examples of the kind of products that are moving. So I talked about comfortable footwear. So I've given an example of a kolhapuri. Again, super easy to wear at home and outside. Indigo print has always worked well on the platform. Easy tops, simple tops, breathable tops, printed masks. All of this is working well. So yes, so like I said, once you guys log off today and take some time out on thinking about what all we spoke about, please do remember to think about that one keyword that actually stands out for your brand. So are you that keto brand in the market, or do you actually stand for 100% organic, or are you that go-to cold brew brand? Do think of the USP and make it shine. Over to you, Sneha.
Thank you so much, Akshita. That was really informative and that was really interesting. So, guys, I'm going to be talking about the upcoming trends on LBB. So, what are the trends that LBB is going to adopt in the coming times? Let's talk about comfort clothing. Let's talk about masks. Let's talk about value. So coming on to comfort clothing, taking away from what Akshita said, comfort clothing is going to be what is going to be prevailing. So you can think about easy breezy fabrics, comfortable silhouettes, something that you can wear from home to work and stay cool. So think about loungewear, We have talked about kolhapuri, something you can just wear with, and it's not a hassle at all. Durable items, and not to mention, everybody has been working out from home these days. So athleisure is definitely going to be a trend that's going to be coming up. Coming on to masks. Guys, masks are just in need of the hour. So the humble surgical mask is going to be reinvented. Brands need to, you can think about embroidered, printed, indigo, colorful, floral. So masks people would want to match with their outfit, be it they want to match it with the dress they're wearing or the top they're wearing. So it becomes a part of the ensemble. Now going ahead, value. Customers would want to look for a value in a product as the consumer is emotionally and economically exhausted. So a value can be a pack of 4 snacks. It can be an easy breezy, comfy maxi dress at an affordable price. Coming on to self-care and wellness. So guys, this is an absolutely huge opportunities for brands to get into. So the focus will be towards oneself in all aspects, be it your health, which can be taking care of your immunity, or your hygiene, which can be your mask. And we all know the million sanitizers all of us have at our home, be it at our bedside, hanging in our neck, million sanitizers, and be it to the food. So for food, we can say we would like to know where is my food actually coming from and how is it being served to me? How is it even reaching me? Coming on, taking away from that, so conscious, aware, and clean consumption. The thinking involves getting to know about how the food is sourced, made, and finally delivered. So we can think about a vegan keto butter, no sugar, or maybe a vegan handbag. Also, what about in beauty? It can be interpreted in terms of a chemical-free and a sulfate-free shampoo. So I'm aware of what I'm consuming, and it's absolutely clean consumption. And we've been reiterating it, guys. Pricing will be key. New lower price gourmet ranges. There's an absolutely huge market for meals at good prices. So for example, MTR is doing amazing ready to eat products at a great value. Moving on to how to sell better on LBB. Now I know most of you are already selling with us, but how can we do that better with LBB? Moving on to photo shoots. So the importance of good photos, guys. So since the touch and feel factor is eliminated online, good photos are absolutely imperative for a better conversion and for a healthy customer experience. And if you have good photos, product centric, clean, aesthetic images, the conversion is much better, and there is a better rate of those pictures working brilliantly on social media as well. Moving on to what kind of pictures do we, what are good pictures? So a good picture is primarily pictures which gives you full detail shots. So clean aesthetic pictures with a white background work really well on the platform. The same goes for our snacks category. So we can actually see here what the product looks like. Also, if I'm looking for a product which is basically low on fat or high in protein, I should be able to see that in our nutritional info, right, as you can see in the examples. Coming on to creatives to shoot. So now brands will need to get creative and will need to weave a story around their products. A product cannot just be there. You have to tell the customer on how to use the product, or kind of create a mood. So here we've shown you some examples of how a mood is created. So a rose water, quintessential in the scorching heat, is we've created a mood on pretty flowers. The product looks simply stunning. Also, guys, if you're struggling with your photo shoots, please do not. LBB is right here to help you guys out. You can just send us your products and we'll be more than happy to get these shoots done for you. Now, moving on to catalogs. Catalogs is a super important aspect of how you can sell better with LBB. Updated catalogs. It is very important to keep feeding the customers' curiosity. So fresher collections, more variety for a customer to look at. And also, if I'm coming to shop on your brand and I need a size 39, and if that full size set is available, there's a better chance of a conversion and a better chance for a customer to likely make the purchase. So fresher collections and full size sets are super important. Moving on to communication. So how do we even communicate our product? What is a good product page and what is a bad product page? So we've given you a few examples here. Now, a good product page is an apt mix of creative and classic product shots. So you can exactly see what the breakfast bar looks like. Is it made of seeds? It has dark chocolate and sea salt. Oh guys, that sounds so yum when I'm talking about it. But anyways, it has to have an apt product title so that the customer knows what exactly they are buying. High ratings. If you see ratings, you're likely to make the purchase because you know that someone's tried and tested it and they've absolutely loved it. And adequate inventory. So for example, if you get 100 orders in a day, you should be having 100 pieces right available. In contrast, let's talk about what's a bad PDP. So a bad PDP will have less than 2 images, incomplete product information, no ratings at all, and low resolution images. So for example, I have no clue what this top looks like. Is it full length? Is it thigh length? So guys, circling back, accurate information on your Excel sheets leads to better product pages, leads to a better conversion. Moving on to what is the example of a perfect PDP. Perfect product page is where you can see the product clearly, which is your front shot and your full details about the product, and also pictures which highlight the USP of your product. So is it PETA approved, or is it chemical free? Is it made in a safe facility? Also, how to use a product. Am I supposed to eat it, drink it, apply it on my head, skin? What am I supposed to do with it? And also benefits. Why should I buy this product? Why should I invest in it? So it's very important to let the customer know that, hey, this is my USP, this is why my brand shines, and this is why you should purchase it. So here is a classic example of a perfect PDP. Moving on, good imagery works brilliantly on social media. So it can be a sari styled in a casual way, or it can be a beauty product where we can actually see what the mask looks like, or it can be your products creating a mood. So we have here some beauty products lying on a tray, and you can actually, get the easy breezy feel with these images. Moving on to packaging. So guys, packaging is super duper important. Unique and informating packaging. Your packaging should make your product shine out from the rest. So for example, here you can see the product packaging clearly states keto. So if I'm on a keto diet, or if I'm looking to stay healthy and I'm looking for a keto flour, I know where I need to, what I need, where my eyes will go for. The same way, it depicts that it has 5% carbs, it is 100% sugar free. So your packaging should highlight the characteristic of your product so that it shines from the rest of the range. Coming on to last but not the least, promotions. How do you promote a product? So to get a higher ads is a super simple way of how you can promote your products. So ads that have solid backgrounds, ads that have usage shots, so people wearing the product and showing how it falls, to images which have the focus on the product work brilliantly on LBB. Moving on to banners. Banners are a great way for promotion. So here we have a few examples of some use case banners which have worked well on LBB. So you have a gluten-free store. So we've given you examples of all gluten-free, clean, aesthetic images which create an impact. The same for all the other categories. Moving on to storytelling. So like we've discussed before, guys, storytelling and creating a mood will be imperative for brands. You will need to get creative of how you can engage with the customer. So we all know that a usual peanut butter is usually eaten in a PBJ sandwich. But how about doing a fun video series, or how about doing a recipe like how to bake a cake with peanut butter or how to make a smoothie with peanut butter. That would be super, super exciting, right? And I can imagine how much engagement would that get us coming on to. So I hope, guys, this gave you a lot of insight on LBB. And I know most of you are already selling with us, but those of you who are not, you can just go onto our website, fill in that sell on LBB form, and our team will be more than happy to help you out. So, guys, thank you so much. Over to you, Shalvi.
Thank you so much, Akshita, Sneha. This was super insightful and actually quite fun. For the uninitiated, Shop on LBB empowers a bunch of local Indian businesses, so you must shop from them. And now, to bring this to a close, before I move on to the final question set, I'm actually going to ask Sneha and Akshita a couple of questions which have come in from you guys. So Sneha, you talked a lot about actually sustainable fashion being a trend. And interestingly, one of the questions that have come in here from Ledgerloom, who are on Shop on LBB, they've asked the importance of sustainable fashion in today's times.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So, sustainability is going to be a relevant trend in the coming times. Thinking about, how the customers are going towards an environment friendly mode. So, you can think about a potential return to sewing skills and craftsmanship. So, people would want to buy products that they can take out of their wardrobe and wear again and again. So, you can think about made to quality products and products that are going to last long. So it's not a use and throw. So sustainability and ethical trade practices are a definite trend we can see coming.
Awesome. And actually, this is something we did not get into details of in the presentation, but I think it's a very valid question. So Akshita, to you, Swati has asked, what's actually the onboarding process to sell on LBB?
Okay, yes. So it's actually pretty simple, but the first, I think, biggest prerequisite for this would be you need to be registered on GST. So as Dhruv had mentioned, if you haven't yet registered, you can go forward with showcasing your catalog, etc. But in case you do have a GST registration, then the process is super simple. As Sneha mentioned, log on to our website, fill up the sell on LBB form, and one of our colleagues will immediately get in touch with you. You have to provide basic details like your catalog, photo, pricing, etc. And our teams are super helpful, and they'll be able to get your catalogs up on LBB in no time.
Awesome. And for any further information, guys, all you have to do is actually just go onto the LBB website. On the top right section, we have something called More. Select the drop down, and it will redirect you to sell on LBB or advertise on LBB. Now, in conclusion, to actually close this entire session, I want to take a few questions, which I think I will direct towards Suchita, who would be best equipped to answer these. So, hello and welcome back, Suchita. Now, the first question, yes, the first question that we have from someone here is, because we discussed price points earlier, do you also house brands whose average price range is a little over 5,000 rupees?
So whoever this question's from a content perspective, 100% yes. We have brands that range from in between 100 rupees all the way up to 10, 15, 20,000 rupees. So from a content and an explore perspective, 100% yes. From a shop perspective, what we've essentially learned is it takes a lot of context and information to move products that are in high ASP categories, right? So if you can show a lot of usability and functionality around the product, it makes sense. If you're unable to clearly demonstrate value as to why your product is worth over 5,000 rupees, then from a commerce, from an on-platform transactions perspective, we avoid high ASP. So from a content perspective, 100% yes. We have all kinds of brands. We work with all types of partners. But from a shop on LBB perspective, right now we're focusing on categories that are quicker to move from a digital perspective.
Awesome. The next question we have here is, There is a pretty big price window for products on LBB. We are into footwear, but the client would see the pricing first because they are unable to feel the material, etc. online. How do we stand out from the entry level price points, and would we still get traffic?
That's actually a great question, and that's exactly why we're not a pure play e-commerce platform, right? So nowhere do we ever say that LBB is a e-com platform. In fact, we pitch ourselves as an information and product marketplace. And that's why we have this, very robust content vehicle. That's the focus of LBB. So if you open LBB, the landing page on the web or the app, all of it is very content first, because we believe that content marketing is actually how you create better arenas of conversation in between the merchant or the brand and the customer. So please don't worry about what the price of your product is, as long as you can justify why it is priced that way. And why your juttis are for 2,300 rupees, or why your flats are for 3,000 rupees, or whatever. Irrespective, I don't think it's about price as much as it is about how you justifying value. Just to also give you some context, the sources of traffic on PDP, so product display pages or merchant pages, are various on LBB. So, as my colleague Dhruv and as Akanksha mentioned, we have shoppable videos. So there are scenarios where a customer could be watching a video and, really, really like your product and want to shop it through LBB. There are other scenarios where maybe a customer searching for footwear, and your merchant recommendation shows up as a #1 search query, and a customer reads your recommendation or watches your videos and then clicks on shop now and then comes to your catalog. So there are many different journeys, and actually your price and the value that you're pitching to a customer, that is a very strong correlation in between where the customer began their journey on LBB and how they finally came to your product. And our diversity in journeys actually enables us to cater to a host of different merchants and brands through our platform.
Got it. Up next, we have a question from Geetika. It says, do you think this is a good time to launch an apparel brand on LBB given the current situations?
So Geetika, great question. Apparel, as I mentioned, is a pretty slow category, not just on us, but actually, all across retail and commerce at large, unless obviously you're running deep discounts. So my take on it is, if your apparel falls into comfortable homeware, if your apparel falls into things like t-shirts or loose dresses or things like those that a customer is likely to want to wear at home, then you're more than welcome to come and sell on us, because we're seeing that category move pretty well. So like Akshita and Sneha mentioned, we're seeing a lot of your easy cotton dresses, your pajama like pants, your palazzos, your t-shirts. We're seeing a lot of basic apparel move pretty well on LBB, and actually at very competitive ASPs.
Okay, and I'm going to take the last two questions, Sujata. So this one's for you. Being a very new and small startup, how can we leverage LBB as a medium for getting our brand out to more customers while still being cost effective?
So that's a great question. And again, my colleagues Akanksha and Abhijit had covered a large part of how you can leverage LBB. We totally understand how tough it is for, businesses to create cash flow and spend a part of that cash flow on marketing, etc. And a lot of our marketing activities are actually pretty cost effective. If there is a specific objective or an outcome that you want, you can make it very clear to our team when you get in touch with them. So if you want your outcome to be leads, if you want it to be brand awareness, if you want it to be clicks to your website, just make your outcome very clear. What you can do is head over to our website or our app. There's a more section on the top right. If you tap on that, there's a tab that will open up called Advertise on LBB. Click on that, put in your inquiry, and one of our executives will get in touch with you.
Awesome. And actually, we have a couple of questions that have come in for Dhruv. So I'm just going to summarize this one from the Google Pay front. Dhruv, if you could just switch on your camera. Okay, I think just to summarize this, you talked a lot about the GPay feature. Could you elaborate a little bit about it, and how can existing seller brands on LBB leverage this?
Sure. So, thanks, Shalvi, and yeah, happy to kind of quickly tell you guys how how it's working. So essentially, what we're building is an ecosystem where the orders, the logistics, the payments all go through LBB like you're used to, like the orders are coming on LBB itself. But we've essentially built the tech to be able to power your catalog that's on LBB to show up inside GPay, but just for your brand. So you're not kind of with other people in LBB. The idea being because at the end of the day in GPay, if you ever open GPay, you'll see what they call spots. So if you see Zomato or if you see Dunzo, like one of those, your brand will be one of those. They will be branded as you. Um, the only LBB branding really is only if they interact with customer support, they understand, okay, they're interacting with someone who's, and for you, that's a benefit because we'll deal with that. And that's how the tech works out in where we kind of power each brand. It is a bit of a, currently we're in the pilot mode. So like I said, in the pilot, we had 5 brands that we worked with. There was, we're getting all the systems set up and making sure all the payment and order flows work effectively. We're now working with GPay to enable the second phase of this, which will have many more merchants, which we will inform everybody about, and you'll be able to essentially sign up. There'll be a couple of documents that you sign off on, and essentially right after that, we just kind of get you live on GPay, and your spot is ready. Once your spot is ready, visibility for the spot, using the QR code and sharing it, sharing the link of your spot, that's all on you. So we're just giving you the access, and then it's on you to kind of use that channel, send it to people, re-engage. So stay tuned. The pilot is live. And then we'll be making the second phase live. PhonePe actually will be available to everyone faster. PhonePe will not have a 2 phase. It will just be a quick test, and then we will mobilize for everyone. And again, just stay tuned. Get in touch with us if you'd like to get onto PhonePe as well. And same thing, right? The catalog shows up your brand only, no other products from anybody else. Orders from PhonePe customers, and then they go through the same backend, the same payment and order flow you're used to. So you don't have to manage everything separately. It's all coming through a single pipe. And the third part also just will work very similarly. So a microsite for you in terms of just your own website, if you want to move to like a light, fast mobile solution and don't want to manage tech on your own, that too will work the same way. You'll get to let us know your domain. We'll hook it up. It'll be live. Your catalog will show up, and the backend will all work the way it does. And anything we are offering to our customers will be enabled on the website and on PhonePe and GPay for your brand and for your customers. So the goal is that it's not LBB there. It's your brand name on your website or your PhonePe or your GPay presence. We are an enabler that's taking care of all the heavy lifting and the tech, making sure the requirements are met. And for PhonePe and GPay, we act as a liability owner, so that we can help scale up a lot faster without you having to get into the legalities at each stage. So that's really how it's going to work. In customer support, we'll continue to power for you and make it easy for you to manage your customers. So that's our strategy and how this will work out. Stay in touch with our merchandising team and our tech team. Watch out for updates. We'll be rolling this out to more and more people over the next couple of weeks and months.
Thank you so much, Dhruv. And sorry, Sachita, I'm going to have to unmute you once again. And I'd like your video on for this last question, which is actually
okay.
What is I think I'm just going to again summarize a couple of questions and get to you, which is, what is the scope for home decor products and gifting as a category at large?
I am actually very bullish on home decor, and those of you who follow me on Instagram will see how bullish I am on home decor because, again, like I said, remember this customer who used to go out, who used to, perhaps go on a small summer vacation with their family or go out to restaurants. A lot of that money that they were spending on all of these ancillary categories is now being saved, right? And customers are hedonistic, at some level. And I think specifically with customers on LBB, a lot of the trends that we're seeing is these customers, while at home, they want to release their tension, right? They want to release their anxiety. They want something positive and exciting to look forward to. So I am personally very bullish on home decor. Though that said, I think the challenges with home decor as a category definitely are the ASPs. I think the second big challenge with home decor category is design. I do think that there is an opportunity for slightly more new age home decor brands to come up with a slightly more modern aesthetic. And there are so many fantastic Indian fabrics, textiles, and more that can be explored. If I were in home decor, I would bet on things like lighting. I would bet on things quicker to add furniture, more assembly pieces as opposed to things that are chunky, bulky, and heavy. Because again, all of those just rack up your delivery rates and your freight rates, etc. So I am personally very bullish on home decor, though I do think the approach to home decor needs to be rethunk. And again, just case in point, right, in the US there are so many phenomenal home decor brands. There's Pottery Barn, there's Anthropologie, there's West Elm, and you can rattle off a name of names of 10, 20 large scale home decor brands. I am actually surprised that hasn't happened in India just yet, given the craftsmanship that we have access to. So I do think there's a big open space in home decor, but I do think the winners of that space will look at home decor more as home decor as convenience, home decor as hedonistic almost, versus people who are looking at home decor as a way to furnish the length and the breadth of a customer's home. So I would rethink what home decor looks like for an online buyer and an online customer.
Awesome. Thank you so much. May I request all the speakers and everyone else to put on their cameras, because we love to take one lovely group picture. And to everyone who's asked questions here in the chat box with regards to selling, advertising, and whether we provide customized solutions. Well, guys, all you have to do is, like I said, go onto the LBB website, click on the option at the top right which says more. It will give you a drop down to sell on LBB, advertise on LBB. And yes, this was all from us. I hope you all had a fun, informative, engaging session.
Guys, can we see a double thumbs up if you guys enjoyed this?
Yes, please give us a double thumbs up.
Or you can do single thumbs up if you didn't enjoy that much, but double thumbs up would be appreciated. No, awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks a lot, and we will see you guys again soon for the next virtual LBB Makers Meet.
Thank you guys. Thank you. Have a good week. Bye-bye.
The link will be up soon enough, so we will email it to you guys. Thank you.
Bye-bye.